Looking for an easy-to-use glue-on adhesive that truly goes the distance, from shoeing to major repair? Only Equilux is strong enough to stand up to everyday wear and tear, yet remain flexible for easy filing and shaping, even nailing. To handle all your repair jobs from patching quarter cracks to major hoof wall reconstruction. Equilux. Tough, flexible, easy to use. Because a horse is only as good as its foot.
So Alice, tell us about a prospect that you had or a client who didn't want to advertise with us, didn't want to come to the summit later on, but you got him in the book, you convinced him, and it was life-changing for him.
I guess I don't know that anybody ever said that they weren't going to advertise, because I never gave them a chance to tell me it's not going to work. I didn't accept that as an answer. So instead, I would do, like I said, my little notes. I would follow up with people. Even if they didn't want to advertise, I still called them. I said, well, that's okay. I just want to check how you doing. How's your dog Frisco, or whatever it would be, because I could talk to them and find out a little bit more about them. And it seemed like eventually people do break down, much like we did with the Steve Bloom story at Grand Circuit. You just had to keep talking to them and exactly figure out what it is you want. Some people wanted to be more noticed. Well, what do you mean more noticed? Well, the ads get lost in there, whatever. Did you ever think of adding color? Oh, is that an option? Well, of course it is. What would you like? Let me talk to you about it. So just listening to them, I could find out what they need. I don't know that we ever had anybody I would call a really tough nut that just wasn't worth talking to.
Al,
Bless his heart, he was great. He bought Equilux from Tom and Donna Gauthier. I can't remember the year anymore. But Al really let me lead a lot of the way. Because I listened to him and I saw what he wanted and heard what he wanted. And I guess it was about, I can't remember how many years back, my friend John and I were up going to visit his son in Minneapolis, and we stopped to see Al, because I still see people I like, so that's good. But anyway, and I think we had gone out to dinner or something. Anyway, we went back to his place, we were sitting around talking, and Al says to John, you know, this lady made me a millionaire. I was like, well, there you go. But it was the fact that I would listen to him, and I knew that by positioning himself right, that he could do very well. But I saw what Equilux could do, and I still see Tom and Donna Gauthier as well, because great people. But I knew what they're at, I knew what their vision was, I knew where Al was at, what his vision was. I watched the market, learned the different things in the market, and it just grew into a wonderful magazine. Sometimes people don't know where this potential could be. Luckily, I'd been around enough that I knew that this potential was here. I listened to the Farriers. I'd been to Farrier clinics. I had
school.
You put it together. Oh, I went to Farrier school with your mom. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other story. but yeah,
you still got the scar on your finger?
It's pretty much healed anymore. I don't even remember how bad it was here. Just a little bit left.
Isn't Al buying this gatefold? This is another example. I mean, even he's going to do an ad on the back side of this gatefold cover.
Well, he should.
Yeah, exactly. But it's an example of Al. Even our staff today going to him with a special idea, he jumps on it.
But he also understands that we never tried to lead him down the wrong path.
Trust.
He knows that we've taken care of him all these years, and he understands and can appreciate it. I don't know if you remember, Delta one time wanted the front gatefold. Like this. Remember this one?
Yeah.
And I said, well, now what do I do with Al's ad? Because he's going to have it here, which would put Al in a weird... I said, so Al, think about it though. Everybody that opens the covers, they'll see your ad before they open this one. So I sold 2 inside front covers of that particular issue. They all got enough charge. But, you know, they wanted those positions, so you pay for them.
You help their business.
Well, it's brilliant. Yeah, it is really neat.
So early on, we're trying to educate ourselves and everything, and Alice gets hooked up with some of the schools, and I think it was your idea that there should be a short school for suppliers that could go, and you got Danny Ward on board to do a week-long thing.
Danny was already doing them.
With
He did them
suppliers?
for Diamond. He
Okay.
took all the Diamond reps and put them
Oh, yeah,
through
that's
this
right.
program.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that's neat. How about people like me who really don't know anything about anything? And mind you, my brother and his wife, they had horses. But I don't pay much attention. That was their horses. But anyway, so I said to Danny, so that would really be cool. So then Danny decided he was going to do an industry one. And he was thinking maybe you'd do it every year. But he quit after us. Anyway, but so it was Linda from FPD,
Yep.
Marguerite from Mustad,
Mustad.
Cape Well. But anyway, there was a group of us, 5 or 6 of us that went to the school.
And there were you and Pam.
And Pam and I. So how tough could this be? So day one, we go out there to Danny's school. Danny sets us down in his little classroom, and I'm attentive. I have my pad of paper and a pen, and I am taking notes. Anything out of his mouth, I'm writing it down because I'm going to know this because I'd like to get A's in everything I do. So I'm taking all these notes. I'm ready to go. That's written down. I'm drawing pictures. He draws a picture. I draw a picture. Okay, this is good. So we finished up this first classroom day, and he takes us to his work area. And he's got PVC pipes hanging out of this wooden contraption. And he said, this PVC pipe is going to be quite a bit like the consistency of a horse's hoof. Now I want you to, and he's getting us to stand like a farrier, hands us these nippers, well-worn nippers, and he says, I want you to start, clipping them, and we're going to do this, and we're going to rasp them, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so, how easy could this be? It's easy A in this class. So I'm standing there, and Pam and I are laughing and goofing around a little bit, talking about, hey, there's a bar at the hotel. This is going to be great. Go back and get a drink or something, a glass of wine, enjoy your evening, maybe the hot tub. It's a little warm because it's Virginia. Anyway, so we get through this whole little thing, and it's a little bit harder than you'd think because he has these pipes so that they're wiggling around on you a little bit. That's not bad. So as we're getting ready to leave, he goes, okay, well, so tomorrow we're going to actually go out and shoe a horse. Of course we are. Nobody would let us do that. So anyway, we come back the next day, and lo and behold, he has these miniature horses. Now Danny was what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, right.
He folded like one of those folding wooden, what do you call those? I forgot the name of those rulers, like wooden rulers. He pulled himself down, and he would not let us touch the stallion because it was worth like $1 zillion. But he's got these little teeny hoofs like this, and you go to rasp, and you're taking off all your knuckles, no skin. So we're taping up, bandaging our fingers and our everything because everything is getting just all squirrely on you. Anyway, we get a break at lunch. He gets out a grill. We grill. We're having a good time though, just goofing around. It's great. Other than the Band-Aid situation, it just can't be this hard. I don't know why people complain. So he says, well, the next day we're going to go out and do a full-size horse. Of course we are. So we get in the vans, or in the trucks, we go out to this place, and he says to us, now be very, very careful because you're in the hills of Virginia, and there are stills in these areas around us, and they will shoot and ask questions later. And we laugh. Oh, wait, they're not laughing. So now we have to figure out how to get to the outhouse in a group, but not step outside this little area because we don't want to be shot and killed by somebody thinking we're after the moonshine. So anyway, he said to me, Alice, we're going to start with you. And this is an off-white horse, kind of grayish. Anyway, he's showing me how to get there, get positioned, and you're bent over. Your back is hurting now already. It is hot. There are flies all over the place. You're getting kind of sweaty, and this big, hot, sweaty horse is leaning into you, and this is not very easy. Your knees are starting to hurt, and you have only just picked up the foot. You haven't gone any further yet. So as we're struggling through this, trying to get all this going here, Danny is, he is watching us like a hawk to make sure everything is done. We get the horse's hoof trim. I'm doing one leg. Anyway, we get it trimmed, and everybody else gets a turn. You get to rest. Okay, now we're back. Now we have lunch. We come back. This all-day process for one horse. Well, I guess we had 2 horses. 4 of the people were on one, 4 of us on the other. I'm getting ready to nail the shoe on now. Ready? And he's going, wait, you got to do this or that, and whatever. So you got a 1,000-pound horse leaning on you. You've got flies biting you. It is just ungodly hot and awful. And you're hurt because you're bent in a place you shouldn't bend like this. Anyway, I got this horse's thing, and he tells me I have to hold the hoof and the nail and somehow hammer it, and I've just run out of hands. So now you got to take this here to get it over like this, but not too hard and not too soft and not tapping. You've got to give it a good rep. So you're going through the whole description. You've got this like this, and I get one in, hit it again. Somebody says something to Danny, who turns around, looks the other way as I hit the third hit, goes through. The horse is now tired. He's done. He rips his foot out of my hand, and this nail that is sticking out now just rips open my whole hand. I am like, blood is gushing all over the place. And of course, Danny, I'm just more like, and Danny looks at me and goes, "Don't bleed on the horse. It makes the owners nervous." Okay. He drags me out to the truck. We're bandaging us up. Nowadays, I would say it should have been stitched, but it wasn't that bad.
Will you rub some dirt on it?
No, actually, he had a whole truckload of emergency stuff like that. So anyway, I was out of commission. I couldn't do much. I could paint stuff under the horse's feet and make them look pretty, but that's about where I was at. So the next day, that night, maybe it was that night, Wednesday, I think your mom made it through those first couple days. Her parents, your grandparents, show up.
I think it was the last day of the year.
I know, it was the third.
Next day, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's now going to drop out of school because she's going to get to go hang out with her parents for a few days. They're standing there watching her make a horseshoe.
Yeah, Danny said she couldn't go until she made this shoe in front of
her parents. It was one of she did actually very good. I think it was a shame. This group of people, we had hot metal horseshoes flying, rolling across the floor, and Danny just kept going. It was a hot mess, let me tell you. But it turned out good. We had a great adventure, and I can't remember if your mom came with me to when we went to NC Tool, because maybe that was after. We told Danny we couldn't do any more on Wednesday. We said or Thursday, Friday, whatever day. We said we can't do any more. We got to go visit another customer, and the other people all went.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, we got to go.
I don't think she went with
She missed that one?
You know where that shoe is she made? Hangs in her office at home.
There you go. She should be proud of that. I think mine's somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. Somewhere in one of my buckets in my shed.
It's not the greatest looking shoe, but she made it.
As Danny told us, he'd hold one up and he'd say, "There's probably a horse somewhere that would fit this." He was always positive.
So Alice, you spent 23 years with us leading the ad and marketing efforts with suppliers. What advice would you have for someone else getting into this industry, working with these supply groups, organizations, supply houses?
Yeah, there's a few things I would say. Number one, you got to be honest with people. Always be honest. We had people that would call sometimes and say things like, "Well, I've got a brush for a horse." I'm not going to tell you to run an ad in the magazine because it's a waste of your money. Let's run a new product on it and be done with it. Or B, you're a really good fit. This is going to work great. So, but by being honest, they know they can come back to you and ask for your opinion or your suggestions for things, and that's going to serve you very well in the future. And I think you have to always listen. You got to be aware of what's going on. Listen to your advertisers. Much like with Al Carlson, he told me kind of what he was looking for, so I would watch for opportunities to help him be better and succeed.
I think there were some examples of companies that were big into the Farrier market in Europe, who someone would say, you ought to get them into the American market and all, but Alice would say, they don't have any distribution here in the U.S. They're going to be wasting their money until they get distribution here. Or she would line them up with some supplier here in the U.S.
And that would always help, because I would talk to people, so I would know what they had. Different shops would have this or that or whatever. And then you could branch out from there. You would know this guy is looking for this guy, and you could kind of piece things together just by listening to people. I wouldn't get we wouldn't benefit from it in any way, other than the fact, financially, other than the fact that we've got known as a very reliable source of information. And that's what it's really about. You want to help people and help them succeed. So.
It was honesty too, and saying to somebody, this isn't going to work for you with you don't have the distribution, or it's a product that won't work with our readers.
The other thing that really helped out is having a strong art department. God's truth, I could go into that art department and say, this guy wants an ad, he wants a 50 on it, and he wants something blue, here you go. And then I'd walk off, and I'd get like 5 things that I could send out to my advertiser. And that really was very, very beneficial. Not that it helps everybody. And I'm not just saying that, but it's true. You guys know how many times.
It still works today. We're still doing it today.
Yeah, just by that, having a strong, and not being afraid to ask, even if it was kind of vague like that. And unfortunately, I did give you guys some vague stuff sometimes, because I didn't know what somebody wanted. That was another thing that really, really helped out, because I could present stuff that was really cool. And sometimes it was a little bit more than they would ask, and I could just see this was never going to be there. But I could tell they wanted something, and by talking to me, they were comfortable enough to say what they wanted, and then they were able to come up with good designs. Yeah, it was very, very
I remember once Ray Steele, you came to me, Ray wanted to run his ad upside down.
Yes, he did.
And I told you, no, we're not going to do it, because somebody would think we screwed up, not what Ray did. And then he wrote a headline that kind of went around it. I wanted to run this upside down or something, but everybody would have thought that was our mistake.
But it's funny though, with the different things people said. At the very first issue that we published, actually, if you look in there, the first one, I think it was the inside back cover, a guy up in California, and the ad's pink.
Yeah, there it is.
And it's missing Victory's address, if you look. Right?
Yeah.
See how I remember these things? It was a 4-color ad. There was 4 pieces, so you should have had all the film with it. And when we sent it up to Times, it got separated somehow, and it wasn't there. And I had to call the guy up and tell him his red ad was pink. And he said, oh, that's okay. Maybe people will notice it for a change. But I didn't sit back and wait for him to notice. I called him immediately when I saw it, because I thought, I don't think we put a pink ad in there. But yeah, that kind of stuff happened. Though Dave Erb did call me up and bitch about his address. Sorry. But yeah, he wasn't happy about it. But I explained to him what happened, and everybody was okay with it.
It's been great. A lot of great memories. You bring back a number of things I'd already forgotten about.
Oh, there's a lot of funny things that happened over the years, that's for sure. I was just very, like was with Fred Brenchen, we were talking about him, how after I remember him coming to me and saying, listen, I'm done, I'm ready to retire. Do you think there's a chance? We were down at Center Forge. Do you think there's a chance you have something for me? And then I came back to you and said, listen, here's Red's thing. But he had more fun traveling with me. We went into up in Massachusetts, one of the people I was visiting with. Observing.
Oh, yeah.
W.F. Young. Went into their place.
Still advertising with us.
And we sat down and we started visiting with the people there. And Red couldn't stand it. He had to say something, which was okay. That's why he was along with it. But he's asked something about their products, how he liked it and all this stuff. And then he asked the question, and the marketing girl goes, well, what kind of horses did you shoe? And Red was talking about that. And she says, oh, I have Morgans. Well, then all of a sudden Red starts talking. That was his first horses that he first started with the Morgans. And they're off here, and I'm over here with my little ad thing going. We're talking with the marketing girl. But he was gone. And anyway, and we started talking about the advantages of this kind of stuff. And the marketing girl, she's still talking to Red. They're having this great conversation. And I said, oh, okay, well, our time's up. Time to get on to the next, wherever we're going to go. She thanked us very politely for our time and everything. And I got back to the office, and I had a call from her telling us they're going to start advertising all the time. She didn't even hear my spiel. She was so busy talking about Morgans. But right. Red had such a ball doing these different things that we did over time. You know what? It was so much fun. It really was. I enjoyed it. There was, I guess you know how people say, you know, you never have a day at work if you're having a good time at your job. Well, that was kind of the way it was. I would come in and think, and just call people and talk to people. And some days were more productive than others. Sometimes, like Dave Willis's wife had cystic fibrosis. And this poor woman was pretty much housebound. She was, it was probably 5 years or so before she passed away. And sometimes we would just talk. She would go through all this kind of stuff, and then I'd say, towards the end, I'd say, which ad did you want this month or this time? And she'd tell me, and then she'd continue on with her story about her cats, and she had a whole like greenhouse behind it, and the cats would wander around. But whatever. And she'd say, oh my gosh, it's been an hour. She said, I better let you get back to work. She says, just tell your boss that I'm a hard sell. But what she really needed was someone to talk to. And I was like, that's fine. I've got a whole month or 6 weeks or whatever to sell these ads. If it took an hour to talk to you, it's quite all right.
You always cared about people.
Kind of still do.
Right.